Questions are to determine whether the argument is valid. So let's do this example here. I'm going to do a couple examples. So let's say I have P is my first premise. My second premise is not Q implies P. Therefore, not P or Q is my conclusion. So P, not Q implies P. Therefore, not P or Q is my conclusion. Okay. Let's make a truth table. So we start out the same way. It's only two statements, so you don't have that many rows. You only have two rows to worry about. Okay, so I need to figure out not Q because I have a negation and I even have a not P in there. So I have to do all that. Let's make these columns. All right, so let's take the negation of P. So this is going to be false, false, true, true. Negation of Q, have to invert everything in the Q column. So that would make it false, true, false, and the negation of a false is true. Okay, so let's do the first premise. So the first premise, we already have it. P, it's already given. So let's write it down again. So you can repeat it again, so it's just convenient. So we have true, true, false, false. That's my first premise. Second premise is not Q implies P. So I'm going from not Q to P. So I have to look at these two columns. So false implies true is true. True implies a true is true. False implies false is true. True implies false is false. So again, whenever you have a true implies false, it's always false, as I mentioned before. So we had a true implies false is false. Okay, so we have our premises, right? So we have P and not Q implies P. I have to AND those together. So I'm going to go ahead and take the AND of this and that guy. So we AND the premises together. So true and true, they're both true. So it's true. True and true is true. False and true, false. They both have to be true. False and false, obviously false. Okay, so we ANDed the premises together, right? We ANDed the premises. And we have to take the implication of the ANDed premises with the conclusion. So we're almost done. We just have to do one more step. So I have to take this thing here, my ANDed premises, which is P and not Q implies P, and I have to take the implication of that with the conclusion, which is this. Actually, I actually need to do the conclusion first. I haven't done the conclusion yet. Let's do the conclusion first. So I didn't even do that part. So let's do the conclusion first, then we'll take the implication. It'll be easier. Okay, so I have to take the OR of not P and Q. So not P is here. So I need to take the OR of these two columns. So again, an OR is not that strict. Only one of them has to be true in order for the whole thing to be true. So false or true is true. False or false, you're both false. That's false. Only one has to be true. True or true, obviously true. True or false, at least one of them is true. So the whole thing is true. Okay, so I have my ANDed premises and I have my conclusion. So I need to take the implication of these two things. So let's make another column for that. Okay, so let me move this up a little bit so it's not cluttered. Make a little line here. Okay, so I need to take the implication of the ANDed premises in this column with the conclusion, which is this thing here. So it's the same thing. So if I have a true implies a true, it's true. A true implies a false is false. A false implies a true is true. A false implies a true is true. Very close, except for this one. This one ruins it, right? Not all true. Not all rows are true. So, again, this has to be a tautology. So if even one row is false in the last column, then it's not valid. So unfortunately, this is not valid. No tautology. Any questions? Does it make sense? Let's try another one. So let's do one more problem, and then I'll let you work on the assignment. So that was number one. Let's do number two. What if I give you another argument that I want you to verify? So what if I tell you P, not Q, implies not P, therefore Q. So again, I have my premises above the line. So these are the premises. And then therefore Q is my conclusion. When you do the same kind of process, it has to be done again to prove this is valid or not. So same thing. So you have true, 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 false, false, true, and false, false are your possibilities. It's always the same every time with two variables, with two statements. Okay, so I need to do all this, right? So here I have not Q and I need a not P, obviously. So not Q would mean I have to negate everything in the Q column. So that would be false, that would be true, but the opposite of a true is false. The opposite of a false is true. Negation. Not Q. Not P. So I have to negate everything in the P column. So the negation of a true is false. The negation of a true again is false. The negation of a false is true. The negation of a false is true. Okay, so let's write down the P column again just to make it a little bit easier. So P is just P. I'm just going to write it again just so everything is close to each other. I'm just duplicating this column, basically. That's my first premise. This is a first premise. Okay, what's my second premise? So I have P, right? True, true, false, false. So here I have to do this one. Not Q implies P. I have to do the implication of that column with that column. So we have not Q implies not P. So false implies false, you know, is true. True implies false is false. False implies true is true. True implies true is true. Okay. So I have my premises here, so I have to take the and of these two things. You want to and the premises together. So I got P and not Q implies not P. And them together. So again, we're looking at these two. So true and true is true. They both have to be true for an and. True and false, obviously false. False and true, not good enough. False. False and true, not good enough. False. So we've anded the premises together. So my conclusion is Q. So I'm just going to write it down again here. I'm just going to copy this column again. We already know what Q is. So just copy it. So true, false, true, false. So we have our conclusion, right? True, false, true, false. That's Q. So I have to take the implication of these two things now. So we take the anded premises and we implicate it with the conclusion. So basically all this stuff here, P and not Q implies not P. Implicate that with the conclusion, which is Q. Okay, so it's easy. So true implies true is true. False implies false, you know, is true. False implies true is true. False implies false is true. We get a tautology, right? And everything is true in the last column. So because of that, this is a valid argument. Yes, valid. Argument is valid. Any questions? Okay, so that's kind of my lesson for today. So homework 14 is available and it's due on Tuesday, next Tuesday when you come back. So it's about 2 problems. I did put up a support video and the file that I showed you today is there. So make sure you take a look at those and then try to work on this. I'll put you in, there's not that many people even here. Only 2 people. Only you, Jillian, and you, Louise. You guys always show up.
I try.
Okay, so that's it then. So I guess I'll put you in breakout rooms, but you don't have to work in breakout rooms, but you can if you feel like it. So it's only 2 people. Why not?